Former Little Mix band member Jesy Nelson has been caught in a lot of drama lately. Just recently, she released a new song and music video with Nicki Minaj, and it's faced a lot of backlash as people have called the singer out for blackfishing in the video. On top of that, it seems as though this has also brought to life a feud between Jesy and her former bandmates. There were warning signs, and the other Little Mix members are the ones who made them known, so let's talk about all of that today as we get into the celebrities who tried to warn us about Jesy Nelson. Before we dive in though, let's get a quick rundown of the drama that's been going on as a result of the music video that was released. On October 8th, Jesy released her music video for her song Boys featuring Nicki Minaj. After the video was dropped, immediately viewers started speculating on whether or not Jesy was deliberately trying to portray herself as a black woman for the content, and people started calling her out for blackfishing. Blackfishing is the term given when a non-black person alters their appearance to resemble someone who is black or mixed by playing off black aesthetics and styles. In the Boys video, fans pointed out that Jesy was using a lot of black-centric aesthetics in the video, most notably a darker tan. A lot of people called her out for it, including one of the members of Little Mix, whom we will talk about in a moment, but this isn't the only time that she's been called out for blackfishing. Back in 2018, she was also called out for wearing locks. Now that she's in some hot water for the content and the aesthetic of the music video, people are starting to notice that Jesy isn't as innocent as once thought. Not only has she been caught blackfishing, but others are also pointing out that her other not-so-kind actions may have been a red flag or warning to fans about her. Other celebrities have been able to sort of expose her, specifically the other members of Little Mix, so let's talk about them and their relationships with Jesy. At number 3, Jade Thirlwall. Because of all the drama with Jesy and now between the members of Little Mix, people are starting to point out some of Jessy's other questionable and unkind actions towards her former bandmates that sort of warned us about her character. Fans have pointed out one incident that happened between Jesy and Jade that showed us some tension that was caused within the group. In the past, Jade has suffered with an eating disorder. When the group first auditioned for the X Factor, where they rose to fame, Jade was in the midst of recovery. Her condition was pretty life-threatening, and so understandably, it's something that she struggled to cope with and continues to be a topic that she's a little sensitive towards. Back during her run on the X Factor, Jade said that her bandmates are part of the reason that she was able to recover from her condition because they gave her the confidence boost that she needed to get through it. But eventually things turned sour, and at one point Jesy made a pretty hurtful comment about Jade's condition that some fans think could have been a warning sign of things to come from Jesy. During an Instagram live, Jesy made a pretty insensitive comment when she and Jade were talking about eating junk food, and Jesy said, quote, "But you don't put on any weight," end quote. A Twitter user re-uploaded the clip to show Jade's reaction, and you could tell that she was pretty hurt.
I think same as well. I've ate so much
Right.
you wouldn't believe it.
But you don't put on any weight.
Well, that's
No.
why I'm using the bloody hoodie on. Honestly.
The ignorant comment that Jesy made towards Jade has become evidence among Little Mix fans, proving that Jesy was actually pretty mean towards her former bandmates, so with that, some of them aren't too surprised at her recent actions because that kind of ignorance was already there. At number 2, Perrie Edwards. After leaving the girl group, Jesy Nelson said that she no longer wanted to be friends with her former bandmates and even claimed that she was severing ties with them. Fans had been speculating for some time that there was some kind of bad blood between the group, but it's not until all of this drama with Jesy started coming out that people really realized how bad that blood really was. One person that Jesy seems to really be feuding with behind the scenes is Perrie Edwards. Though there hasn't been any public or verbal fights, it's the silence between them that's really got people on high alert, thinking that this is another sign of Jessy's actions showing her true colors. There had already been speculation of the bandmates unfollowing each other on social media, evidence of more ties being severed. Over the last few days, sources have said that they've all unfollowed each other and that their publicists are saying that they're going to refrain from commenting on the situation with Jesy. It seemed like all of that unfollowing drama would have been over, but Jesy seemed to have gone one step further and even blocked Perrie's dog's Instagram account. Some fans thought that this was a bit unnecessary since it's literally a dog's Instagram page and there was no reason to block it. Originally, fans thought that it was Perrie who had unfollowed Jesy on that account, but it was later revealed that Jesy was the one who blocked it. Why? No one really knows, but it's just a lot of petty energy. But this Instagram nonsense isn't the only thing that fans have pointed out that shows the rift between Jesy and Perrie. Fans were also quick to notice that Jesy never actually congratulated Perrie on the birth of her first child. The other members of the girl group were there to support Perrie during this time, but Jesy was nowhere to be found. Fans believe that this snub was on purpose, and this came shortly after giving an interview where she spoke out about her level of communication with the rest of Little Mix, saying that she wasn't in contact with them anymore. A lot of fans felt as though Jesy still should have congratulated Perrie even if they weren't on the best of terms, simply because of their history together, but instead it was radio silence on her end. This kind of energy also had fans bringing up the infamous cropped photo incident. When the group attended the Kids' Choice Awards together, fans noticed that the photos that Perrie posted of the group at the award show had Jesy cropped out. She claimed that it was because Jesy didn't like how she looked in any of the photos, but then Jesy pulled up with her own posts of the event where she had cropped out the rest of the girls. This tension had fans super confused, and it was one of the first signs that things were getting to be a little toxic within the group. All of these actions between Jesy and Perrie kind of gave fans a warning that there was some toxicity between them, but rather than Jesy take the high road at least and try and keep up appearances, she instead made it very clear where she stood in the situation. Some fans think that's quite rude of Jesy, especially since she had been tied to Perrie and the girls for 10 years, but others think that this once again is a warning sign of Jessy's true colors coming through. And finally, at number 1, Leigh-Anne Pinnock. In the midst of this drama with Jesy and her blackfishing scandal, Little Mix member Leigh-Anne Pinnock has been the one group member who's spoken out about Jessy's actions. Leigh-Anne has served us with the most warnings about Jesy, and she even reportedly warned Jesy about blackfishing in the first place. According to sources, Leigh-Anne had approached Jesy before she left the girl group about blackfishing. Leigh-Anne warned her former bandmate that darkening her tan and wearing black hairstyles was offensive, and it's been alleged that this was the reason for their falling out because this conversation created a rift between them last December. A source told The Sun, quote, "Leigh-Anne had a conversation with Jesy trying to explain why she was upset and why it could be offensive. She felt that she had to address it while making her racism documentary, but apparently it fell on deaf ears. For Jesy to now claim that it has never been mentioned to her before is really rude. It's upsetting that she hasn't taken any of this on board." End quote. When Jesy was addressing the backlash for her blackfishing, she claimed that no one had ever brought this up to her before, saying, quote, "The whole time I was in Little Mix, I never got any of that. Then it came out of the band and people were all of a sudden saying it." End quote. This was probably the biggest warning that fans had been given about Jesy and her actions, because if it's true that Leigh-Anne had already spoken to Jesy about blackfishing, but she still did it anyway despite knowing that it was wrong, that says a lot about Jessy's character and arguably makes her actions even more offensive. Some fans have also dug up another instance in which Jesy dismissed racist hate that was directed at Leigh-Anne, which could also serve as a warning to fans as to how Jesy interprets these kinds of actions. In the past, Jesy has been very open about the bullying that she faced as a public figure and even made a documentary about it. Earlier this year, Leigh-Anne also made a documentary that focused on racism and colorism in the industry, being the only black member of Little Mix and the hate that she's faced. When Jesy released her documentary Odd One Out about her experience with bullying, she was asked about her fellow bandmates' experience with hate, and Jesy seemed to have minimized Leigh-Anne's experiences with it, saying that she, quote, "is better at dealing with it than I am," end quote. Fans used this to allege that Jesy wanted to make herself look more like a victim, trying to boost her image. There are actually a few articles out there making similar claims, so it seems as though the fans might be onto something, but what do you guys think? There have been a lot of warnings and a lot of incidents leading up to all of this drama, and it's painting Jesy to look pretty unflattering right now. Because of this scandal, Jesy has lost over 40,000 followers, and it's still dropping. Do you think that she's going to be able to bounce back from this scandal? Nicki Minaj is backing her up in all of this, but will that be enough to save her image and her career? And do you think that we'll hear anything else from Little Mix? Leave all of your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Anyways, that's it for me. I've been your host, Brie Room, and until next time, stay safe, make good choices, and stay groovy, friends. We're here to spill all the tea, even though I don't quite understand what's going on. Alright.